The starting soon thing got all those partners on it. I'm sure it's not new, and I just haven't paid attention enough to notice it. Bingo. Hello. What, did I do something?
About to talk. I'm about to talk. It is the home of the Snowball Derby, Pensacola, Florida, Five Flags Speedway here on iRacing.com. It's a special place to go racing with super late models, and while it's been a bit of a rocky show to get into the sim this evening, we are finally into the sim with the virtual Five Flags Speedway virtual super late models. Everything you could ask for out of a Thursday evening with the SARA Super Series. Welcome to Five Flags. Welcome to the Justin Brooks Designs 125. And these 125 laps we're about to run are going to be a special one, Zach. It's going to be a very, very fun race. Of course, super late models, Five Flags, as we've said, a hell of a combo. Welcome to Pitstop TV in the virtual Pensacola, Florida. My name, of course, is Andrew Cardone IV. I do have Zach Burtis alongside once again, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series for the Justin Brooks Designs 125. Etc., etc. Tonight's coverage, of course, brought to you by Pierce Fleet Service, Justin Brooks Designs, and Whiplash Sim Cams. I love this racetrack. I think you do as well. I think anybody who likes short track racing loves this racetrack. It's just a really cool place to go racing. So fast, so bumpy. Some similarities to Hickory, some similarities to a lot of different racetracks that we go to this season, Zach. It's a special place.
Yeah, absolutely. Five Flags is definitely in one of my top 5 racetracks on the sim. Definitely one of my top 5 short tracks in the United States. And it's got a, like you said, Andrew, it's got a lot of great characteristics. You can see here on the track map that turns 3 and 4 are just a little bit different from 1 and 2. It's a good characteristic compared to Hickory. One characteristic that it has that's not very comparable to a lot of short tracks around here is that, well, Five Flags itself is a bit of multi-groove. You can use that middle upper line to be able to make passes or defend from lower level passes, and definitely when the tires start wearing out, it really makes for a great defensive line. So everything I just mentioned, great for defending, also great for attacking. You can make some passes on that outside line. The multi-groove layout definitely gives a lot of great racing here at Five Flags. It's the home of ARCA Racing, Snowball Derby, like you said, so many great races that take place, and well, we got a great race for you guys tonight.
That we do as we get into the sim here. Let's take a look at our race schedule for 2024, at least the first portion here of 2024 that carries us into May. Kern County, Irwindale, New Smyrna, Nashville, and Southern National have all happened. We're here at Five Flags right in the middle of the season, Zach. Next up, we go out to who knows where. Centripetal Circuit, maybe. I don't know. For Mystery Night. Brought to you by Fast AF Designs. That'll be a lot of fun. I still don't know where we're going. We're not going to know until we open the broadcast. And we're going to be somewhere. So that's going to be a fun day for sure. But then those last 4 races, we head up north a bit, then we go back down to Braselton, Georgia. Some really tough racetracks. New Hampshire, Slinger, Oxford Linear. A very punishing run to the end here for 11 total races. And as we get closer to that 11th race, we can start talking more and more about these point standings. Just 3 points separating our top 2 now as 2 drop weeks have taken effect. And this brings Ryan Kuhn right back in. He was having some struggles. I think having a couple of bad races is fair to say. We even talked to him about it at Hickory last week. It's been a rough go for car number 72, but he's getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn only 3 points back, like you said, Andrew. But not only that, Jacob Harberton, Josh Cottle, and even Cole Cabry, they're all getting back into the mix now. There's still enough races left that anything really can happen and bring just about any of these drivers back into the fold. And I think anyone in that top 5 right now, so long as they have a good show tonight, there's a good chance that any one of them could really inherit the points lead, or even they could just bolster themselves in the points right now.
A lot of drivers to watch for, I think, even so, outside of the top 2. We'll keep tabs on this as best as we can throughout the course of 125 this evening. And this is one of our first true night races of the season. But we've got cars on the grid. Let's go ahead and run through your starting order for 15 rows. Row 1, Dustin Maberket inside, Ryan Kuhn outside. And, of course, they have that metric that changes the top 8 after qualifying. Trevor Edwards there in the 3rd spot. Trayton Lapsovich going to start this race from 4th. 5th and 6th, Josh Cottle, Shane Williamson, row 4, though, back end of the metric, if you will, Cole Cabry and Alex McCullum at the back end, as you would imagine, of that top 8. But then Keith Jeffrey, Spencer Dickinson, couple of starting positions those guys really need after a tough week at Hickory.
Yeah, Landon Rapp, Kyle Meyer, just outside the top 10. Rapp has been really, really quick at a lot of these races. We saw him charging in the front last week at not last week, 3 weeks ago, excuse me, at Southern National. So look for him to be strong early on in the race. Hopefully he can hang on to those tires a little bit better than he was able to with Kyle Meyer starting right to his outside. Rocky Boyd and Kyle Eli starting in the, if I did my math correct, the 12th row in the 13th and the 14th position. We've got still quite a bit of the field to run through. Grant Brown, Jimmy Mullis, your defending series champion, if I do remember correctly. In the 15th,
not defending, but
position.
past champion.
Past champion, excuse me. And the rest of the field rolls through on the starting grid. You can take a look at it here as Andrew, we're getting ready to turn them loose.
We have one extra pace lap, thankfully, so we'll go through the back 10 here. But while those rows go on by, it's a good time to talk about our Whiplash SimCam's race details. 125 laps, open setups, no change tires. That is the important bit. Every race we do, think NASCAR at Bristol this past weekend. It might not be quite as serious, quite to that degree, but it's close. When these guys run these longer races on these more punishing racetracks, they have no change tires. It gets to be pretty difficult by the end of 125, 150 laps, whatever it may be. Caution laps do count. The field rolls into the final couple of corners here for our final pace lap, and Dustin Monburquette down low, Ryan Kuhn up top. Green flag is in the air, and the Justin Brooks Designs 125. Lap 1 complete, out front, car 16, Dustin Monburquette. Everybody clean here on lap 1, that's what you want to see. First side-by-side, Lapsevich, the Canadian, on the outside of Josh Cottle, the Mid-Southern man, and we are going to get single file up front. This is what you want to see, actually. Everybody wants that side-by-side racing, but the drivers need to be single file this early in a race like this. Again, tires are going to wear out, and, well, fresh rubber will be a premium later on in this race. I say fresh, of course. If no fresh tires, they've got to save their tires.
Tire saving is going to be the big thing here, especially for these top 5 drivers right now. Monburquette got a really great jump in this start of the race. Ryan Kuhn was able to slot in line, still holding on to that second spot. Look at that. Single file throughout the field. One car up the racetrack in turn 4. I think that was Landon Rapp.
So Landon Rapp moving backwards. He's subbing in for Brett Suggs this evening, as he's done a couple of times. Just ahead, there's some side-by-side racing with Josh Cottle and Cole Cabry. Cole Cabry, fresh off a win at Hickory Motor Speedway last week, along with the guy who's right behind him filling that hole to the inside of car 13. Cabry and McCullum swept the SARA 1-8 Coffee Company National Tour races at Hickory last week for the Hickory doubleheader, brought to you by SARA Next Gen Templates. These two are hot right now in a super late model, and I asked them both about differences or similarities between Five Flags and Hickory. Of course, if they want at Hickory, a bumpy, fast racetrack, maybe they have something here at Five Flags. Of course, each driver pointed out some of the differences that are really, really key. It is bigger, it is faster, and the bumps are just a little bit different. So we'll see what translates from one race to the next, but right now, these two moving through the field up into 5th and 6th as the rest of these guys claw around in the back of the field trying to get single file and get through this race early on. The only side-by-side I saw that lap is right here, Aaron Johnson, Jacob Harberts. Harberts goes by, and now you see Parker Traves putting the 88 of Kyle Meyer out of the racing line.
Yeah, Harberts is definitely in need of a good run tonight. He's got a shot to gain solid points and put himself a little bit higher than where he's at inside the top 5. And, well, it's going to take a little bit more than run on the outside like two of these drivers are as they all get single file. And let's talk about Alex McCullum being hot. He just got past Cole Cabry, and he's setting the fastest lap of the race. He did set the fastest lap of the race not too long ago, actually.
Bit of a celebrity night here. You mentioned it. A former champion in the field. Of course, there's a few former champions in the field. Ryan Kuhn, defending series champion. But Jimmy Mullis joining us this evening. He's a past champion, longtime SARA member here this evening in his Kevin Harvick Incorporated number 29 Chevrolet Camaro. Good to see Jimmy in the field this evening. He's running in the 17th spot currently. We'll keep tabs on where driver 29 is throughout the course of this race, but celebrity night maybe here in Pensacola, and that's good to see. As your top three are Monbriquette, Kuhn, and Edwards. Trevor Edwards had an interesting week down at Hickory, and it ended with a trip over to Catawba Valley Medical Center. Not really, but he took one hell of a hit on the backstretch at one point in the second of those two races, and junked a super late model in a way I've never seen a super late model junk before, and now he's about to get passed by a Canadian for third.
Did he get rear end damage?
It was a lot more than rear end damage.
The inside joke being a lot of these super late models do not take rear end damage from what it looks like on the sim. You see Alex McCullum getting by Trevor Edwards there, who finally slots in line behind the number 1 car, who has now moved himself up into the 4th position right behind the Canadian Blacksmith as these cars get single file again. But looky here, Dickinson up on the outside of Rocky Boyd, trying to see if he can make something work out there.
Spencer Dickinson able to start in the top 10, and of course everything behind 8th, those times, those positions are set by time rather. So if Dickinson started in the top 10, he qualified in the top 10. However, he's getting passed up early. He's already down to the 11th spot as he is just now ahead of Shane Williamson and follows him behind Kyle Eli in that 21 car, which the number gets harder and harder to read, it feels like, by the week. But that 6 car headed in the wrong direction currently. We'll see if he can turn that around later in the day. And to cover the back end of the field right now, the last few cars on track right now, car 22, Blake Thronberg, car 66, Eric Tracy, and car double or triple, single 0, whatever it is, Matt Rolfe, as he works here on Daniel Folds to put the 09 into 28th position. And Matt Rolfe not feeling well, a bit under the weather. We'll see how he does over the course of these 125. In fact, Zach, we're already through 19. This next time by, we've got 105 to go.
Yeah, Dustin Monbriquette has walked himself out to a 3.5, 10-second lead. And he seems to be setting the pace for the field tonight. Obviously, Alex McCullum turned the fastest lap on the racetrack, but that doesn't mean you are the fastest car on the racetrack overall. Monbriquette has definitely proved that he is here to make some names tonight. As we see Landon Rapp moving to the outside, and I apologize earlier, that was not Landon Rapp who was going backwards in turn 4. That was Sean Williamson. As you see Rapp working that outside line on the top of Trevor Edwards. Not making any ground right now, but they're still hanging side by side before coming to the line.
Right behind these guys, you see Josh Cottle and Rocky Boyd fighting side by side. So a couple of editions of side by side fighting. Landon Rapp though on the top side, he's actually working to pass the 32. You don't see that very often. A driver on the outside trying to pass a driver on the inside, but it is possible here at Five Flags, and I think by the end of the race, that might be where you want to make passes. A lot like Hickory last week for the 1-8 Coffee Company National Races. I really, truly believe that in this super late model, and I think we've seen this in many a race here, Snowball Derby's come to mind, the top side is going to come in by the end of this race.
Yeah, the top side definitely working to the advantage of 2 drivers. As you see a couple grabbing the wall there on the backstretch, but you can see right here, Landon Rapp has really worked himself out in front. He's not clear just yet, but keep working at it, keep doing what you've been doing, and, well, he might just get it. And Cottle right behind him in the 13, trying to see if he can make it work. I think Landon Rapp just might clear Edwards in the 32 here. Yes, he will, but Cottle now to the outside, trying to see if he can make it do the same thing as Landon Rapp did.
We want to take a look at weather conditions this evening. 67.7 degrees in the air, 81 on track, clear skies. It has the sunny emblem, but of course it is nighttime here in the sim, well into the evening. The race started at 8 p.m. in sim local time, which is very much in darkness, as you can see. Kyle Eli working through this field early. He's going to try and bring Spencer Dickinson along with, or rather Dickinson will try to tag along. But this 21 car is starting to slowly work through the field. Zach out of New Jersey on the outside here of Trevor Edwards. He's up a couple of spots at the very least. And yeah, up from 14th to 9th, working on 8th. The 21 might have something here today.
Yeah, I bet he does, but I gotta stretch this enough, and really I can't. I've been seeing a lot of these drivers, like we talked about, using that outside line, making it work. You can see Eli just trying to get around that 32 car. He might clear him here, and I think he will, but you've got to remember these tires. You've got to hold on to them for as long as you can. 125 laps of racing. You burn them up too much on the outside line, you might not be in the best spot come lap 50, 75, or 100.
So Edwards slipping back as the day goes on. A couple battles further back. Parker Traves, I think, lighting up the timing charts a little bit. And there you see a very used up former Trevor Edwards chassis, or at least that's what Grant Brown is going to call it. The 14 car working with a lot of damage on it. I like how these guys every once in a while do this kind of thing, and they bring a wrap that makes the car look damaged. Of course, it is just work in Photoshop, but Grant Brown doing a good job of it, as now he's going to get crossed up maybe by Jim Cottle Jr. Grant falls into the 17th spot. Jimmy Mullis starting to work through the field now into 16th. Parker Traves there just ahead is, wow, I mean, the field is really moving up the racetrack into turn one. That camera shot really showed it. We're going to watch here this next time by as we're focused on Shane Williamson and Keith Jeffrey. Watch them here to turn one. I mean, they are migrating way further up there on entry.
Yeah, I can understand why. Taking a larger arc going into the corners, it helps a lot with the tire saving, especially here at Five Flags. You can take it a little bit wider, chop it down just a little, and be able to, well, save tires, but look at those hands.
These guys run a lot of offset to the right in these supers. You can see it on the straightaway. I guess is it offset to the right or the left? Anyways, a lot of steering offset, and Jeremy, it's to the right, right?
Yeah, I think it's to the right here.
Yeah. So that's why the tape there, the center tape on the wheel is so cockeyed down the straightaways. They're trying to get it straight, or mostly straight in the corners. But this fight between Ashby and Jeffrey going on for a while, and I've not seen the 01 in a race yet this season. Maybe I've missed his name, but Jeremy Ashby finally qualifying for one of these races in that RKM machine. Good to see another driver that hasn't qualified a whole bunch of races, and well, showing back up, trying to get some team points. Of course, there are some team point shenanigans, I guess, up for grabs this evening. We'll talk more about that later on if we get the opportunity, but here we go. Car 29 still working through the field. Of course, he is an eNASCAR Pro eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series driver. Is that still the series name? A black license means a whole lot.
Coca-Cola iRacing.
There you go. Yeah, a black license is the point. He's a pro driver. I think we'll see his tire saving come into effect this evening for sure.
Yeah, you see him cut down. It's going to be 3 wide here, Andrew, going into turn 3, but Jimmy Mullis, being the heads-up driver he is, backs out a little bit, doesn't necessarily take the risk now, is able to continue with that defensive line, but definitely that could have been a very, very bad scenario. And we zoom back in. Alex McCullum has worked himself up into the third spot. He's moved past 3 laps of it. He's actually been passed up by Cole Cabry as well. And now the top 3 dukes it out as Ryan Kuhn goes to the inside.
Here comes car 72. He's moved through the field. He was strong, but just a little ways behind the shop drivers at Hickory Motor Speedway. So this is a big, big pass if he can get it done for RKM in general, but especially Ryan Kuhn. He can just get up to the race lead. And admittedly, we haven't seen a ton of green flag passes for the lead in this series this season. It's been a lot of track position battle. If the 72 can get this spot early, it might be for the win, frankly. Even if we get a couple of cautions at some point, if he can make this pass, that could be how he holds on for the race win.
Then Andrew, Alex McCullum sits right there waiting in the wind. If there's a mistake, if something happens, or even if Ryan Kuhn, actually...
Slow car, Cody Kelly, and that's a caution.
That changes a lot here.
And Kelly's going to tow straight to the pit lane. You can see a bunch of damage. The car is 75, and we go back and get a look as to how he ended up that way. It's going to be off the nose of Jacob Harberts. Big overcorrection.
Big snap and a big hit there. Oh my goodness, was that Rocky Boyd?
It was Kyle Meyer and Eric Tracy. I don't know. We'll give them benefit of the doubt and take a look at the replay, but that seemed like a very missable incident.
Ooh, that looks like netcode. Car just snapped to the right.
Yeah, I don't know where... I'll be honest, I don't know where those two were going with that in the middle of the corner. They hooked to right, but let's watch this back a little bit. I mean, these guys were 3 wide. Grant Brown down low. Keith Jeffries up top. They sorted it out. This is the back stretch now. Cody Kelly getting put up top, 3 wide. The crash is going to be this next lap around. There was contact there. They maybe should have crashed right there a lap prior. Great job by Kelly to hang on to it. If we watch, this might give us an idea. See, Harbert's already got some right front damage, and I would say he definitely got into him.
That's a heavy impact to the outside wall. You see cars moving around. I'm not sure where those two were necessarily going. They could have absolutely ran the bottom there, but hey, it's the mentality of the driver. You don't necessarily know what the car is going to do, and you think, well, maybe I need to find a different line to get around it.
Here it is for Kyle Meyer as the wreck happened.
Yeah,
it's a split-second decision.
You saw those cars in front. They all made the split-second decision to move to the bottom. He couldn't necessarily see where the wrecked car was, and you know, like you said, Andrew, split-second decision to move to the top and get up there, and definitely take a heads-up decision to move around the wreck.
This is a pretty punishing incident here for Jacob Harberts this early in the race. I mean, sometimes, I guess there's two sides to this, right? Because it's early, so he's got time to recover, but sometimes later in the race, you might have a handful of cars out, and so if you have to take that EOL for causing a caution, maybe you only drop to like 20th, but in this case, he's dropping to 28th. Cody Kelly, the only car out of the race, he might even be 29th when they line up. And while these guys line up and go double file quickly, back to points, Harberts is the closest to our top two. Then it would be Josh Cottle and Cole Cabry. So that's a pretty big blow to car number 80, but let's take a look at this restart. 76 laps to go, green flag back in the air. Into turns 3 and 4, Ryan Kuhn topside, getting put too wide by Alex McCullum. Solid restart for the entire field.
Absolutely, and you see Ryan Kuhn fighting so hard to keep Alex McCullum behind him. He's got to clear him, and he will. The top three single file as Lapsevich and Cabry now fighting it out for the fourth position. Cabry with the nose, but Lapsevich at the line.
Cole Cabry outside, I think, has a stronger car. It's a matter of being able to use it here on these restarts when you get put too wide, as we've got 3 wide further back. Rocky Boyd on the inside of Spencer Dickinson. They touch again. They touch again down the front stretch. And Trevor Edwards is the poor sap caught up top 3 wide. Jeremy Ashby right behind them. Josh Cottle there as well. That was nearly a right rear from Dickinson to Boyd.
Yeah, Rocky Boyd not taking any prisoners right now. Moving his way through the field. You can see that right front a little used up on the nose of that race car.
Oh, he went in deep.
Sliding up. My goodness, Rocky Boyd is absolutely trying to blister the field right now as he is just on the outside of the top 5.
That was deep in 1 and 2. Nearly pushed Edwards to the high groove, and thankfully the marbles on iRacing are just not as bad as they are in real life. But man, if this was real life and he took somebody that high up the racetrack, it would take a few laps for Edwards to get back into it. Thankfully, Edwards stays on his door, and this side-by-side fight goes nowhere as Dickinson goes under fire from Jeremy Ashby in that RKM machine. Clearly, the RKM guys have got some speed. Ryan Kuhn's still right on the back end of Mont Marquette for the race lead.
Yeah, Rocky Boyd is sliding all around the racetrack right now. You can see him sliding loose corner exit, but it looks like he'll finally clear Edwards. Takes a look to the inside. Boyd shuts the door, gets it rolling, and continues to look forward to lane and wrap as we see on board here with Ryan Kuhn as he works on the race leader of Dustin Marquette, but don't look too close now. You still got Alex McCullum sitting not even 0.2 of a second back behind Ryan Kuhn.
I love Dustin's last name. We had the graphic up for a moment, and you know, and bring it back up. If you look at Mont Marquette's, it barely fits in any of these graphics.
Could just slide it over to the left a little bit.
It's just, and you know what? These guys call them barbecue. That fits. Briquettes, Mont Marquette, I suppose. It's such a cool last name. He's fighting here for the race lead, trying to hang on to it. He has had an absolutely abysmal season to this point. I can think of several occasions where the 16 has been bullied out of the way, caught up in a crash, or just hasn't quite performed to what we might expect from Dustin. But he is, truthfully, one of the better drivers in this field, and even by iRating, I mean, nearly 8,000. I mean, that's an incomprehensible number to me. My iRating sits around, I think, 2,300, and while I don't have the time to focus on oval racing, maybe it could be a little bit higher. I could never imagine being an 8K. let alone 7, 6, 5 like some of these guys are. But he is one of the better drivers here. He just has had a terrible, terrible season so far.
Yeah, I think last time we were out for a points-paying race at Southern National, he got involved in a few incidents that really hindered his race and didn't allow him to really show the capability that he had in that race car. And now he's out here in front, being able to show these guys that, well, I may not have been super competitive the last few weeks, but here I am showing what I can do. And I think he has a really good shot to win this race as we are closing in on the halfway mark.
Halfway in this race is, ooh, that scared me for a moment. Halfway in this race, I suppose, would be, I think we just passed it actually. Yeah, 62.5, so just beyond halfway now. Only the one caution to speak of, that's good news. Let's sink back in the field a little bit though. Let's see Rocky Boyd here racing with Landon Rapp. You got Jeremy Ashby still right on Trevor Edwards. Deeper in the field, I think somebody worth noting has got to be this Zero car. Matt Rolfe, feeling under the weather, has worked up to 17th position. This is really impressive. Caution, that's going to be Keith Jeffrey. And yellow flag officially out.
At least he kept it off the wall, was able to keep it rolling. And that car looks relatively clean there, Andrew.
I think there's a small dent to the right side door, maybe even the right front, but all things considered, this car, well, you could pack it up in the trailer, take it off to the next racetrack, it'd be just fine.
Yeah, I would head to pit road, maybe see what we can do with it. Not too much damage, let it rip.
And it might be that junked up 14 car that he spins off of here. That's turn 2, just got a little free, got up into Grant Brown, and there might have been a little contact in the middle of the corner that kind of started that. We can take one more look back at it, but that's just racing. That's the perfect example of a racing incident. You don't get many like that on iRacing anymore. Here's the onboard from car 14, some contact there. That's short track racing. That's that's just racing.
Very common occurrence, especially when you're at a short track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, everybody leans on everybody, it feels like, in these races, and that's the way it ought to be. Especially in that case in particular, that was just two guys trying to get as close as they can and just race it out. Working lap 69 here of 125. You see the field work on by. We are very quickly heading to 50 laps to go, and I feel like that's when the switch kind of turns on for these guys, is somewhere around that number.
I think my pun flew right over your head, Andrew.
Maybe.
You know, you said short track racing happens sometimes, and I was trying to say, well, it tends to happen, especially when you're at a short track. Get it? Puns?
Well, yeah.
We have fun here. We have fun in the booth. It's what we like to do, but...
You talk about short track racing. We got some short track racing coming up in more than just these super late models. We go road racing this weekend with the Icon Cup Series, but then, Zach, our next race back with them will be at Martinsville, along with the NASCAR trip there after the Easter weekend. We'll be off with them on Easter. So then we go to Martinsville. That'll be race 7. Yeah, race 7 for those guys. The Cup car at Martinsville, of course, that's a controversial topic, I think is fair to say. But hey, short track racing is always fun.
Yeah, I'm more looking forward to the Icon Cup Series Sunday, Circuit of the Americas. One thing that iRacing has done very well so far in the last few weeks is they've been very extensive with their updates, and they just recently updated a lot of the sausage curbs at a lot of the road courses, and I've been hearing so much going on about it, so it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle those.
I love how they are pretty much officially referred to as sausage curbs, but no curbs to be found here. Lap 71 will be complete this time by. Green flag back in the air. The Justin Brooks Designs 125. A clean restart, a bit calmer than we've seen, I think, but the intensity going to ramp right back up as we will have that side-by-side fight once again for second. Maybe not. Boone actually gets clear right away, and that was a beautiful job from car 72. That's the quickest he's gotten clear of that third position. He might have something here for Dustin a little bit quicker.
Yeah, the outside line, not exactly the best place to be on the restarts. A lot of short track drivers know that. They know the bottom is definitely the preferred line, and Ryan Kuhn to take it that fast has definitely got to be helpful for his race. And you see Cole Cabre here has cleared Trayton Lapsevich on the outside line. And now the fight begins as Kyle Eli.
Oh!
No, big stack up.
I think that started with Cabre and cars are in the air. That
big one
is the big one of all big ones.
That's the huge one. Not to comment Kyle Petty from 2014.
Oh my gosh, they're still carrying cars. That is the big one to end all big ones.
Was there anyone that made it through that other than the top 5?
Well, they're still crashing over here. I think Jeremy Ashby last to get rolling. There's still pieces of cars. I believe Landon Rapp was the last car to go through all of that.
And look at that right front of that car. It is a little up in the air. It's very towed out. The rest of the car is through.
Honestly, Landon might have been in it. We'll take a look back. This is
definitely in it.
This is an absolute mess. I've never seen a short track crash this big.
Watch the left of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Trayton Lapsevich and Kyle Eli. The stack up comes from Cole Cabre and the 2-liter.
Oh, wow. It's going to start with the 72 of Ryan Kuhn. Oh, my gosh. Daniel Folds went for a ride. Poor Ashby crowd surfed the entire field. Everybody got a handful of the 01 car. Oh, my gosh. So this is going to start. This is a lap prior. Trying to find the sweet spot for replays. This is a little further back. Watch the 72 of Ryan Kuhn. He had just got to the outside in turn 2 briefly of Montburquet. This is when we're on board back here with Trayton Lapsevich. And then here to turn 4, he got the fence down there. McCullum was on his bumper. So this all started with the guys very, very out front. And there's just nowhere to go. I mean, you're stopping 5-10 cars all at once. Lapsevich is all over the place. Edwards is a big part of it. Jimmy Mullis even got a big-time view of the undercarriage of the 01 car.
Very, very big-time view is right on board here with Jeremy Ashby. And just watch out the front of this car. Watch it all unfold. There it goes. And there's the wrecking. Everyone going sky high. Rocky Boyd up on top. And, well, Jeremy Ashby's along for the ride at this point. Nothing he can do.
That's... wow. We get one more look. This will be with Jimmy Mullis. So kind of the other side of that particular incident. Just watch it all unfold. I mean, this is about as big as it ever gets. Rocky Boyd goes flying through. Oh my gosh. And there's the 01. Oh man. I think...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the expression when pigs fly. What about when stock cars fly? Is that relevant to this case, maybe?
NASCAR does it pretty often when you go to Daytona and Talladega, but not usually down here at Pensacola. 4 cars.
Right there,
well, I mean, that's what makes it fun. Blowovers, right? But we got 4 cars that were not involved in that. Everybody else going to have a hard time, although New Spirit a winner. Parker Traves is 5th. We're back green, 45 to go. Jim Cottle Jr., Kyle Eli, there are new retirements. Rocky Boyd, everybody else still in the race. Just what a mess we had there. Absolutely changes everything behind 4th position.
Absolutely. You look, Parker Traves is up there. Garrett Brown, Jacob Harvard, Josh Cottle, Parrish in the 2. Love that paint scheme on the 2 right there. It's so beautiful with just the duct tape numbers. And Matt Rolfe, he's up inside the top 10 now. Very under the weather tonight. You were talking about it earlier, Andrew. He made it through. He's got barely any damage on that car, and now he's up racing inside the top 10. Turns everything topsy-turvy. We've seen things like this happen so many times. Ryan Kuhn now tries to go for the race lead.
I think a lot of those guys, they got stopped in time to relieve damage and not take too much, but they still are a part of it. And you know what? Since that crash started with Ryan Kuhn, I think we can consider 28 cars being involved in that. The only cars not involved were Cody Kelly, who was already out of the race, and Dustin Montburquet, who was leading in front of it all. But Ryan Kuhn right back on the back end of car 16, 40 to go this time by. See the side-by-side fights falling a little further back now as The first fight is actually the 80 car of Jacob Harberts in 7th, working on Grant Brown, who's 6th.
Side by side, and I'm actually surprised Jacob Harberts back up inside the top 10. Involved in a couple of instances. You said it yourself earlier. You know, early on in the race, getting sent to the back, all the way into about 29th, not less than 50 laps to go, and now here he is up inside the top, almost the top 5, up in 6th position at the moment. This is crucial for him. He needs these points, especially being 4th in the points right now. We've talked about it multiple times throughout the race. The points battle is going on, especially being in front of Josh Cottle.
They run side by side. Grant Brown actually, I think, helping Harberts. I know it's keeping Harberts from getting single file, but it's keeping Josh Cottle from really getting to the 80 car. Contact there. Maybe it's not helping him as they door bang a little bit down the backstretch, trying to get to turn 3, and Harberts has the nose ahead. Matt Rolfe, you can see in 9th spot, is coming into this fight now. Lapsovich is somehow still in this race. I'm impressed that we still have as many cars as we do.
Absolutely. We could have very much less cars than we do at the moment. The first car a lap down being Rocky Boyd in the 26th position. 25 cars on the lead lap right now as Ryan Kuhn has really been working the back bumper of Dustin Momberket these last 2 laps. You can see him poking the nose on corner exit, trying to cut it as low as possible so he can be there when the time presents itself. As the battle still rages on between Harberts and Brown, I should start keeping track of how many laps they've been side by side.
Contact!
Contact!
They really got
Sideways.
each other there. That was Grant Brown getting loose.
Harberts got really sideways on the bottom. It looks like Garrett Brown might actually be able to clear that 80.
Grant's almost got him. Now I think he will. Harberts had to jump out the throttle. That gets those 2 single file, and now Cottle and Rolfe are side by side, so that actually will definitely help Harberts as Josh Cottle has to jump out of the throttle because there is a SARA Next Gen template Ford Mustang on the outside. Welcome Matt Rolfe to position number 8.
It's about time, as you see Matt Rolfe.
Look how bad this 20 car looks.
Yeah, I know.
Oh
Look at that front bumper. If this were an actual super late model race, and, well, he actually had that much damage, well, I would not want him to drive it. It'd probably be driving like a snowplow.
Yeah, this many cars would not still be rolling, although there is a very noticeable gap between the top 4 and the rest of the field as they run. So definitely damage taking a toll on those guys, but these top 4 all still together and getting as close as ever. I mean, Kuhn is there as we go past 30 to go, now 29. Getting fun.
Getting fun is an understatement, Andrew. It's getting exciting. Sit down, curl up in your favorite blanket, grab some popcorn, turn on Pit Stop TV, tune in for the last, not even 30 laps of what is going to be an exciting run to the finish. Momberket still trying to hang on. Ryan Kuhn is all over that back bumper. I love this camera shot, Andrew.
Very, very close they were as they complete lap 98.
To the outside, Ryan Kuhn.
Oh, contact, and that's Momberket in the wall. There goes the one of McCullum inside. Big send 2 out of 54. He gets hooked in the wall. Is Cole Cabry, most recent super late model winner in the field. He's turned around, and I think by default, we may see Ryan Kuhn go to the rear.
It was definitely a good idea to grab the popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. 25 laps to go after we cross the stripe, and things have taken a huge turn here at Five Flags.
This will either be a penalty for Ryan Kuhn, or it's going to be in the penalty report as an unclaimed caution. So this is a lap or 2 prior to kind of see this all develop. Momberket, of course, leading. Ryan Kuhn getting right to him. Ryan pokes the nose inside a little bit out of 4. Now he's looking topside in 1 and 2, and he's going to get there. I talked earlier about making passes up top, and Dustin, there might have been contact that led to it, but Dustin tried to clear himself, it looks like, and there, Kuhn just turned up underneath the 54, and these fenders don't give. These quarter panels do not give like they do in real life, and that was a big-time bit of contact there. I don't know if I could blame either driver there, but then down here in 3,
Cabri slides up.
Yeah, Cole came across his nose.
Saw Kuhn cut it back down the racetrack to try and get it gathered up, and I don't think there was any huge intent there out of Ryan Kuhn and Cole Cabri, but I do think that he was just trying to get it gathered up after the contact, and yeah, there's the cut. There goes the hook.
I really think that was just a massive send from those two drivers. I mean, you can see it there on Alex McCullum. He goes way up the inside. He sends it big time. Cabri comes up across the nose of the 72. I don't think Ryan was trying to stay there, let alone take him out or anything. That's just a really, really odd incident. That's short track racing, though. We're going to have less than 20 to go, I think, when we go green, and Kuhn will hold his position for now, and I think that's the right move. I don't know. I mean, that caution goes back to the initial incident between Dustin and Ryan. And how do you break that down, Zach? I mean, Dustin's on the inside. I think maybe as he starts to track out for the corner, I think Ryan was already on his quarter panel. I don't know.
There's a lot of contributing factors to the situation, to be perfectly honest. And I think the big thing we have to think about now is Marquette might have right side damage now, and that's going to open the door for Alex McCullum, Ryan Kuhn. It's going to turn this race a little bit on its head.
I think every car in this field has had damage at some point, of some sort. Has certainly had noticeable car contact in some way, but here we go. Into the restart zone. Green flag once again. 21 to go. Matt Rolfe.
Matt Rolfe.
Big crash in the back. Everybody getting wadded up in this one again, and the 0 is done.
Andrew, is it a full moon tonight? Because it's got to be a full moon tonight.
No, but there is an eclipse on the way. Well, let's take a look. This is unfortunate. A couple of cars coming into it.
Oh,
Matt just... I can't tell if Matt didn't fire or if maybe he was in the wrong gear. I saw Parrish jump up for a moment. I don't know. So Matt checks up and Lapsevich did not get the notice there. Carnage.
There's all the cars piling in.
Absolute carnage there on the front stretch. Get another view or two. Let's actually watch on board here with Matt. He's just going to check up and... yeah. Wow. I mean, you've got 20 guys that were just in the largest crash we've seen in months. And they're all chomping at the bit at a restart. One checkup is all it takes, and we see that now for Matt Rolfe. And he's got no nose, no bumper.
I'd take that car right down pit road. That's
yeah. That looks a bit like
waiting to happen.
Looks a bit like an SRX car without the big wing. That's not going to corner. That is not going to work when he goes down into turn 1 for a number of reasons. That's there's a lot wrong with the 0 car. Hopefully he comes down the pit lane. A couple of cars I think did under this yellow. Trevor Edwards actually gets back on the lead lap. Rocky Boyd has been back on the lead lap. He pit under this yellow trying to get some repairs made, as did Landon Rapp. Tyler DiVinanzo's been down there for a lap or so. Cameron Hamilton's been down there for a little while. Kyle Eli has been in the pit lane for a long, long time since that crash happened. There you see Rocky Boyd back in for a little more service. Just trying to get that car banged back together if he can. He was in the top 10 for a while, too. That sucks to see for the 16.
Yeah, but that's one thing that you can notice here when it comes to short track racing. Anything can really happen. Anything could happen. It's just like a super speedway race. Anything can take you out. Anything can cause you to have something wrong with the car. But at least he's getting service for it.
I think Lapsevich might have just... well, actually, he went to the rear. I heard a crunch, and I saw him slow out. Maybe he lost the motor, but I think he's okay. Yeah, he's accelerating now. A big thank you to our partners across the series. You see a bunch of them here. We'll show page number 2 here as well. We'll talk more about them later on. For now, it'll be 16 laps to go. Car 16 in the lead. Green flag back in the air in Pensacola. Here comes Parker Traves into the fight for the podium. Jacob Harberts as well. With all of the calamity in the back, the cream has risen to the top. We've got a lot of points battles happening. 15 to go.
Bombercat still leading the way. I am surprised Matt Rolfe is doing as good as he is with that car being how it is, and we see the fight for second. Alex McCullum
as Ryan Kuhn goes purple.
Find a way around.
I still don't get how these guys run so fast at the end of 125 laps. Ryan Kuhn purple there off the restart is insane to me. As we'll get single file in the top 5, 6, 7 or so. Back to Aaron Johnson, who's in the top 10. You see Ashby getting by Josh Caudle. Remember, Ashby was the final car to get rolling in that massive pileup in turn 1 and 2. And look at that, Ryan Kuhn even faster. He was the last car to get rolling. He was the car that crowd surfed over everybody.
And yellow on the racetrack.
Yeah, Spencer Dickinson. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
That's another big crash. And his shirtless and pantless pit crew are blown away.
Yeah, even so much that their clothes are off.
Here's Spencer Dickinson towards the back of the field, unfortunately. He's had a rough night. Trevor Edwards there, but it's going to start further up. Oh, wow! Lapsevich and Folds. Unbelievable impact, and the fact that the 6 turned over is kind of bizarre to me. Unbelievable crash here. Daniel Folds, Drayton Lapsevich.
Oh,
wow. That's quite incredible. We'll watch onboard with Dickinson from inside the helmet. It's going to be a big hit. Line-sided, wall, and then the suspension digs in somehow and turns him on his lid. That is one of the more interesting moments I think I've seen this evening. And we've had a few, to say the least. Let's jump up and see car 20 in all of this, along with Daniel Foles in the 09. And we know Daniel from all of those Legends races in the last couple of years past. Drayton tries to go 3 wide, right behind Kyle Meyer, who we've also seen a lot of Legends races. And unfortunately, that was just never going to work. I think that was some desperation out of the 20. I mean, he forced himself 3 wide in between 2 guys that were already committed to their corners. That was just never going to work.
It's just unfortunate scenarios for a lot of these drivers. Lapsevich is just, he can't catch a break tonight, Andrew. Involved in, I think, all 3 of the major cautions tonight.
That was really big. He folds bobble that time, and
Lapsevich gets underneath. This is the lap prior here.
Yeah, coming around, and then you'll see the crash here in 1 and 2. You could maybe make an argument that Daniel could have let him go or even given some room, but...
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
And Rocky Boyd, just an innocent bystander and all of that, trying to get damage fixed and ends up getting involved in this.
Here's the onboard, actually, from Rocky Boyd. And this will show just how vicious this is, I think. I mean...
I think the net code might have saved him right there.
Yeah. He should have been much more in that crash. That is just incredible.
The net code giveth and the net code taketh away.
We'll have 7 laps to go at the drop of the green. It has been one of those days. From trying to get into the broadcast, unfortunately we missed qualifying this evening and the awarding of the Ryan Matthews Designs Pole Award. But we're going to have one hell of a finish, I think, here at Pensacola. 7 laps to go, restart zone, Marquette's away. Let's finish this race. Side by side, McCullum right back to the inside of the driver who has the fastest laps of the race. Contact briefly, bit of net code between the right front of the 1 and the left rear of the 72. 1 lap complete from the restart, 6 to go.
Marquette been out in front this whole time, and the
crash.
On the racetrack,
it's Ryan Kuhn. Right after he goes purple, he is turned around. I'd be pretty frustrated. I don't know what happened yet, obviously, but I'd be pretty frustrated.
Crab walking, no major damage to that car. Looks like he'll be able to keep on going, but
he backed it in pretty good.
Doesn't sound like Ryan Kuhn is very happy at the moment.
McCullum already heading back, I think. Lost a couple of spots at the very least. Well, now he's pulling back through. It's going to replay, but I believe it's going to be 1 and 72 together into turn 1. That's what everything is pointing to. This is a lap prior. We're going to see it all develop. This is fresh off the restart. Ryan Kuhn outside, Alex McCullum inside. This is down to turn 1, and
no.
McCullum just had an overlap. Very, very slightly, and he was on his bumper. That's...
Do we call that a racing incident, or do they send McCullum to the rear for that?
He turned him. I think, like, Alex didn't do anything wrong, but he turned him. There's simply racing, but... I mean, he got him pretty jacked up at the start-finish and just kind of carried him into turn 1. I wish we could do picture-in-picture and show a couple of different onboards, because I would show Ryan Kuhn's hands starting to work here. Go to the onboard. Yeah, I mean, you can tell really early in the straightaway there's contact. And I think rightly so. At least per procedure, the one has either been sent to the rear or elected to go to the rear. And he'll line up somewhere around 19th at the back of the field. I hate that for both of these drivers because they're the top of the series. I hate it for both of them. But if you get down to it, Zach, the one turn of the 72.
If you really get down to it, points are shaking up right now. You have got McCullum and Kuhn towards the back of the grid. You've got Harbert, Cottle, up towards the top 5 and the top 10. Marquette, he's still leading this race. Anything can happen as we go into overtime.
I was just going to say, what we haven't even mentioned is we're going to extra time here. SARA overtime. If you're not familiar with oval racing, Ovaltine, chocolate milk? No, if you're not familiar with overtime on oval races, basically there's 2 laps. There's 2 opportunities to finish this race. And if you, well, there's 3, I think, technically enabled, but 2 laps to get it done. I digress. If you can complete the first lap without a caution, the race is official. You race the last lap no matter what happens. It's white flag, you finish it out. If there's a caution in that first lap from the restart, we re-rack them, restack them. There's the point standings. We're back green. A very disjointed restart with McCullum, or rather, Marquette is off and away. They're side by side for second. Traves inside. That's Harvard's outside. Can this go official?
Marquette, that's all he needs to see is cars side by side as we take them around.
White flag. White flag brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. One more time around. Parker Traves is there. He's got 1 win. Can he get another in the final corner at 5 flags? No, he's just too far back. And Dustin Marquette goes to victory lane in Pensacola. Parker Traves gave it his all, though. Fastest lap of the race, the last lap, 1:27. Incredible stuff.
From flag to flag, Andrew. What a race for Marquette.
We've seen a lot of that recently in the 16, gonna burn it down. Beautiful shot here on the front stretch. And he's one of few to burn it down. Thank you, Dustin. Maybe he saw the message in the Discord earlier. Definitely a burnout deserved there by driver 16. It's been a rough season for him so far. It's good to see Dustin finally get one.
Yeah, definitely well deserved. As he decides to do a Polish victory lap here to celebrate his well-deserved, as again, flag-to-flag win here at the 5 Flag Speedway.
We've seen a lot of that recently. Both McCullum and Cabry did it. They led every single lap of those 2 doubleheader races. McCullum led every single lap in the first one. Cabry led every single lap in the second one. Absolute domination, and I believe, I can be corrected here, I'm pretty sure that's a shot decal on the back end of the 16. So I'm pretty sure the last 3 super late model races, I'm gonna wait for him to stop doing burnouts now. I think that's a shop logo, right? I think he's on that team. So if so, that's the last 3 super late model races in this league led every single lap by the same organization. That is incredible stuff. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results after 127 of 125. Dustin Marquette with the race win. Parker Traves, Jacob Harbert's your top 3. That's really important stuff. For those 2 to finish second and third, really those 3 to finish where they did. And look at Aaron Johnson and Grant Brown in the top 5. Big stuff there. Jeremy Ashby, in one of his only starts this season, finishes 6th. Josh Cottle, he's in the top 10. He finishes 7th. Cole Cabry hangs on for 8th. John Owlett, Keith Jeffrey, your top 10.
Yeah, topsy-turvy top 10 here. Josh Parrish, Jimmy Mullins, previous series champion, up into the 12th position. Matt Rolfe, after the day he had, 13th. Blake Thronberg, Shane Williamson, and then Eric Tracy, Ryan Kuhn, after being up front so much, all the way back into 17th. Trevor Edwards, Rocky Boyd, and Alex McCullum rounding out your top 20.
Your next 10 look like this. Landon Rapp, Kyle Meyer, and everybody from Meyer on down did not finish this race, unfortunately. Landon Rapp, the final car that finishes. He subbed for Brett Suggs this evening. Maybe not the best day, but he's been the super sub all season long. The other sub in this race, Josh Parrish, went 11th. Worth noting there for Parker Retzlaff. And hey, you mentioned it. Jimmy Mullis, 12th position. Let's take a look here at the back end of the field. Notables down here, of course, Spencer Dickinson, Trayton Lapsevich. I would even say Kyle Eli, considering how fast he was early in this race. And Cody Kelly. He's been in the front a lot this season. Unfortunately, finishes dead last. We'll take a look back and, well, talk to our race winner and more this evening. On the top step of the podium, it's finally Dustin Monburquette out front. Led every single lap of this race. That, though, was not so easy. What was it like from your perspective?
Oh my god, man, that was like the hardest thing ever. I've won contender races and I've won some dirt races, but man, this is just the one that it just kind of eats you away. Like I wanted this one really bad. I said that at the start of the season to some of my buddies. I was like, man, I want this, and man, I knew we had a good car. We really hit on something at Hickory there, and we brought it over to here just with some tweaks, and I knew we had a good car. I'm just so glad to finally get the monkey off my back and get one.
And Dustin, you're running over there at Jam Manufacturing with Brett Suggs, Shane Williamson, and those guys, they were a little behind the mark today. So wait, I guess what's the difference maker for you to get out front? Can they get the same package next time? Do we see this elevate the team as a whole?
I hope so. I feel like we were all pretty good at Hickory, and I feel like we're all pretty good here, but you know, we all run different setups every race from each other. We just it's kind of just the whole thing of trying to get better, you know. You don't know unless you try, so we all try stuff all the time. We're definitely working hard for it, and man, it just feels so good to finally get the results that I feel like we deserve.
I'm pretty sure Zach said it. I know you said it. Monkey off the back now, 127 laps led, race win. This is going to put you right back into maybe getting into that championship fight that's so difficult to get to right now. But also, you look at Alex and Ryan having a bad race. Ryan's out of mulligans. He finishes back there. Now, Alex starting to run out of them. Does this kind of give you hope the rest of the season, kind of change things around after a terrible start?
No, I don't really think so. Like you said, man, my season started terrible. It started off really good with a second to Ryan there at Kern, and it's been nothing but backwards since, to be honest. It's just been an uphill battle, and to finally get it here, it feels really good, and I sure hope that we can carry this into Mystery Week next time.
Well, Dustin, good to talk to you finally this season, and best of luck. Don't know where we're going next week, but best of luck anyway.
Yeah, thank you very much. Real quick, I just got to thank Rocket iRace Wraps. He's been behind me for a couple years now, just always supporting me with whatever I need paint scheme wise, and just always being there. I can't thank him enough. Studio 10 Wraps on the real life side of things, Rap Racing, everyone at Jam, Shane, Brett, Lee, RJ, Kyle, RS, just everyone, man. We all put in a lot of time, and it feels so good to finally get the results that I feel like we all deserve.
Congratulations once again, Dustin. Good to talk to you. We'll see you next time out.
Thank you.
Dustin Mombercat, a big day down at Five Flags. And Zach, second place belongs to Parker Traves. One of the few other races you've been here for this season, been able to make it here for. Parker Traves won with no bumper at New Smyrna. Thankfully, the car in better condition here this evening, Zach, but Parker Traves, P2.
Yeah, Parker Traves, one of the few drivers in this field that I've actually had the pleasure of being on a real racetrack with. Parker, you've done absolutely outstanding tonight, really. You came from the back with all of those incidents that occurred throughout the race. Tell us, really, how you made it through those big ones and were able to bring it home tonight.
I don't really know. We had a really fast race car. Just we were dodging wrecks, and even under green, we were rolling. I think I drove up to like 14th or something from 24th. Just, I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of wrecks tonight, but we were fortunate enough to finish second.
Well, you did an absolutely outstanding job tonight, and with this race being turned on its head towards the end, did you think maybe as the restarts played out that you might have really a shot to be able to take this win tonight away from Dustin Mombercat?
I don't know about the win. We had a bit of damage, but I think with a clean car, this thing was a winning race car. Just we had a bit of damage, and unfortunately we started so far back. If we started, top 10, we could have saved a bit of tire and fought for a win. But all in all, Ty Majeski built a fast race car, and without him, I wouldn't be here.
Well, you definitely put on an outstanding performance tonight, coming from all the way in the back, 24th up to second, and being able to take home some solid points tonight. So congratulations, and we don't know where we're going next week, like Andrew said, but hey, we hope to see you next week.
Yeah, I'll be here.
That is great to hear. Parker Traves, second place, and well, Andrew, now we got our third place driver, Jacob Harbers, for you to talk to.
Yeah, and Jacob had a bit of a rocky road to get this race started. Jacob, you were all the way back in 30th at the start of the race, drop of the green. You somehow get up here to run in second at one point, finish third. What was your day like other than chaotic?
Man, it was all over the place. I messed up my qualifying lap really bad. I got loose and had to take a provisional. So, starting 30th is not ideal by no means, but the car was really quick in the beginning. I was making spots up early, and unfortunately I took Cody out, bringing out that first caution. I just made an aggressive move trying to get up to the top because I didn't want to get stuck on the bottom. I knew I'd lose a lot of those spots that I was just working on for the last 40 laps. So we had to claim that caution and get put to the back, but it might have worked out because with that big crash that we had on the front stretch, it was like a miracle for me. I just slowed the car down as quickly as I could and stayed in the middle of the track, and it's like everyone either went high or went low, and I literally went from 22nd to 7th just in that one crash, and that's where my race turned around. So after there, it was just survival and being in the right spot.
I think it'd be fair to say this gets you back into the championship battle just a little bit, right? 20 points back and kind of growing until these drop weeks were figured in. It maybe has kind of felt like they were starting to get away. Now Ryan has his third bad race of the season. He's well out of mulligans. Alex had a bad night. How do you use this and keep the momentum going, even if we don't know? Hang on. Even if we don't know where we're racing next week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. At least to take Alex down. Kuhn's really fast, but he's had a few bad races this season. So, in terms of points, that obviously goes in my favor. And I have some room for drop races. I didn't really do good at Southern National, but other than that, I've been pretty consistent across the board all season. So I'm still in contention, but I'm gonna need a couple more bad nights for the one car. Not wishing anything bad upon my competitors, but points wise, that's going to be what I need, with the amount of speed that he's been showing all season. So, we're still in the hunt, but we'll see.
Well, best of luck to you, Jacob. It's been fun to watch. Really fun to watch you go from the back to the front a couple of times. Best of luck next week.
Appreciate it.
And Zach, I think the biggest moment of the night, while we had the massive crash in turn one, the biggest moment of the night is going to be that contact between McCullum and Kuhn. We've had some time to think about it, go over it a little bit. As our job as analysts of what we see on the racetrack, how do you feel about that?
I don't truly have much to say, really. I think that's two drivers who are so close in the championship, just going for any point, any spot on the racetrack that they can get. And there are times where when you get that aggressive, those things just tend to happen. You tend to kind of forget really that you've got cars around you and you try to race a little bit over aggressive, but really it didn't strike me that way when it came to that certain scenario. I think it was just two drivers going for the same bit of real estate, and it was just bound to end not in one driver's favor. You can't really place complete blame on one or the other.
That's just racing sometimes. Really good stuff here. I know maybe a couple of black eye incidents. I don't see it. I don't see the negative maybe that some other people see. That was really good racing, and I think everybody has to remember, I mean, that's short track racing. That happens. I got excited. I was still so excited in the interview. I'm tripping over words even now. That was really cool stuff, really fun stuff, and we're going to see more of it this season in the best of ways. Next up, we don't know where we're going on March 28th. We don't even know until we get there Thursday evening, March 28th. Still no clue. Race 7 going to be a lot of fun, though. Then, Zach, it's 4 really tough racetracks in a row. If obviously you're in the booth here, but if you were in a car, which race stands out to you as an opportunity maybe to try and get ahead of the rest of the field, especially keeping in mind just how good the 1 in 72 and some other cars have been this season?
I'm going to keep an eye on Slinger. That's a big track for super late models. They've got a lot of history there, especially with Slinger Nationals that take place later on in the years. And I really think that's going to be a big night for a lot of these guys. It's definitely one of the shortest tracks on this schedule. You know, you think Oxford Plains would be shortest when it comes to the field size, but even then, it's still got wide corners. They've got short straightaways and very narrow corners at Slinger. So I think that's going to be a big opportunity for drivers to really make something happen, so long as they have the track position.
Slinger is the shortest unless we get something shorter next week, and I don't think there is anything on pavement that's shorter aside from maybe a Legends Oval. I think you would have to go to some really wacky Legends Oval somewhere in order to find anything shorter than Slinger.
Let's swap them on the Charlotte Oval for next week's Mystery Night.
The Legends Oval?
Let's have a Bowman Gray style race.
Hey, I would not be against it. You know what? LA Coliseum. I would not be against it at all. That'd be fun racing. I don't think the drivers would be the happiest, but it'd be fun for us, regardless. A lot of cool racing coming up the rest of the season. A big shout out to our partners here, of course, Justin Brooks Designs jumping on this evening for the JBD, Justin Brooks Designs 125, but also 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage, Pierce Fleet Service, of course, in the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series, Race1Wraps.com, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimWrapMarket.com, Sousa Media, Studio 10 Wraps, and Toxic Media Solutions. And there's a whole nother page, Boyd's Automotive, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Fast AF Designs, Hyde's Pride, Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Jeff By Jr. Art, Matthews Designs, and this evening's presenting partner, Justin Brooks Designs. That's, well, anyway, one of those nights here, even in the booth, Zach. It has been a rough day. iRacing has not worked with us, but here we go. Let's hit that button. And we do want to talk briefly as well about Justin Brooks Designs. Of course, Justin Brooks Designs works to create visually artistic designs to surpass each and every client's expectations. Personally, I've seen a bunch of this guy's designs all over iRacing. I can vouch. Really, really cool paint schemes that Justin puts out. Even the logo looks cool that you saw a moment ago. So very much I can vouch for that. Really cool stuff that he does. I want to give a big shout out to our partners here at the channel as well. Of course, Whiplash SimCams, ATVL, and CC's Business helping us get to and from the virtual racetrack. And Zach, an upcoming look at what we have these next few broadcasts. We go road racing Sunday, short track racing next week. Then we have a week and a half off until we go short track racing with the Icon Cup Series at Martinsville. A little bit of a quieter end here to March. We can kind of catch our breaths, proverbially anyway, and get back to it in April.
Yeah, April's going to be such a busy month moving forward. It's going to there's still the Icon Cup Series and the SARA Super Series that we've got covering throughout the next month. Not to mention, one of the SARA races being April 25th, I believe that's Slinger or Oxford, if I'm not mistaken. But hey, that's 2 days away from my birthday. So if they want to let me race, I wouldn't mind it. But lots of great places to follow along with Pit Stop TV on social media. You got facebook.com/pitstoptv, instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, twitter.com or x.com, whichever one you're feeling. It don't matter to us, /pitstoptv_. So many other great places to watch Pit Stop TV. I'm excited for what's to come. I hope you're excited for what's to come. I know Andrew's excited for what's to come.
Absolutely, and before we go anywhere else, of course, it starts with COTA this weekend. Don't miss it for the Icon Cup Series. That'll do it, though, for us from Five Flags Speedway. Done and dusted, just like that. Excited to see what comes up next for these guys. Congratulations, Dustin Mon Burkett, Parker Traves, and Jacob Harberts. And thank you to these groups at the bottom of your screen in audio, ATVL, Whiplash Simcams, OBS, and iRacing.com. We will see you all next time, either, well, Sunday at COTA with the Icon Cup Series, or in a week's time when we go somewhere on the iRacing.com sim. Who knows? Maybe we go to Le Mans. Maybe we go to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I doubt it. I'm sure it's going to be a short track, but, we can dream until we get there, I suppose. Best of luck, everybody, because who knows where we're going. We'll see y'all next time, March 28th, when we go racing for Fast AF Design's Mystery Night.